Or birthing experience. On January 1st, 2024, my son made his appearance earthside. 1 month later, and I am still trying to process this experience, still grasping for the words to describe this experience adequately, and I still look at him in awe every day. Never has an experience left me speechless. However, that's exactly what giving birth has done. Several times, I have picked up my diary and pen in an effort to find the words that can adequately describe this experience. But it's as if those words do not yet exist. A public hospital birth experience. I gave birth at the Cornwall Regional Hospital in Montego Bay, and what an experience it was. To begin with, this hospital has been under renovation/construction, whatever they want to call it, for several years now, since the old original building started showing signs of issues. What specific issues, I don't know. With this in mind, the maternity/labor ward is not what you'd expect it to be. The nurses and doctors have such a small space to work with. I wonder how they do it. It was a reception area, waiting area, labor rooms, and bed area, all in one. The room had about 7 beds to one side, which new mothers were put on, and this was only blocked off by the backside of the reception area. The labor rooms were just a few feet away, with another room where they would clean up the newborns. The examination beds, not rooms, were just partitioned by curtains in a hallway on the way to the showers and bathroom. Then, of course, somewhere in the back was a restricted area comprising of the staff bathroom and lockers. My partner and his mom dropped me off, only allowed to accompany me a certain distance. And soon, I was by myself to go through this experience. Hospitals have always felt cold, lifeless, and energy draining to me, and this was no exception. The leaks and bad ventilation of the room just made it worse. I was surprised to realize that you actually aren't given a bed and somewhere to put your things until you have actually given birth. As a result, when I was sitting to get any rest from the contractions, it was a tough plastic chair which was uncomfortable as fuck. My bags were just sitting on the floor under said chair because there was nowhere else for them to go. At some point, the reality of the situation hit me. I was all alone in this now. I felt so alone, and honestly, that made me cry more than the pain of the contractions did. The space was so open with no privacy. Imagine dealing with contractions, managing your way through the pain, and progressing through labor with 5 to 15 strangers in the room. All the other women there either waiting to give birth or already done so. 2 to 3 nurses on duty, cleaning staff, and doctors. It's as if everything I prepared myself with, the breathing techniques, the physical movements, all went out the door because I felt so out of place. Even though the nurses advised us to walk around, squat, etc., the space was so limited that we were bumping into each other if we were not careful. Apart from the complete lack of privacy, you are restricted from making the sounds that may come natural to you as you go through each contraction or push to give birth. Instead, you are told to shh, be quiet, or behave yourself. As I progressed through labor, I found myself wondering how much more pain I could manage before I completely lost my mind. I never knew I could experience so much pain and still be alive to speak of it. At one point during the contractions, after I opened my eyes from taking some deep breaths, it literally felt like I was in a different place. I think this is the point where I started to believe in myself that I was completely capable of doing this. I had such a burst of energy, and even my vision got a little clearer. When it came time to push, I was sure I was going to shit myself. Before I could even comprehend what was going on, Prince was crowning, and it was almost time to meet the tiny human that had been growing inside me for the past 42 weeks. It was so surprising to me that the contractions actually felt more painful than when he was coming out. In about 3 pushes, I heard one of the nurses say, "But Miss Watson, you mean businessman?" And a few seconds later, when I heard his cries, I knew he was here. As the nurses placed him on my chest and he settled down, my heart just felt as though it melted from my body. In an instant, all the pain prior became worth it. All the tears I had shed had meaning. Whew. A new story has begun with the birth of this beautiful baby boy.